Are you tired of writing and removing pencil marks from a puzzle over and over again? I'll show you a secret trick you can use to solve puzzles like this quickly and without marks. Click below if you want to give this puzzle a go. And with that, it's solving time. Okay, first step of my trick is you want to look right here at this cell. What could it be? You may notice all the odd digits, 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9, all look at this cell. If the even digits, a 2, 6, and an 8, all look at this cell. So you know you can solve this cell for certainty for a 4. Greetings, friend. This is the variant of the championship puzzle I featured previously on my channel. Thank you, Julian Locke, for sending me this puzzle, because it's perfect to show you my secret trick for solving without marks. I show you the first part of the trick, but that will not be enough when you get hard stuck in this puzzle. However, you can use this trick again, which is called cell restriction, right away to solve another 4. If you look right here, you might notice that this can't be 1, 3, 5, 7, or 9 from the odds. And then the even, same thing, 2, 6, and an 8. So you can solve that cell for a 4. So a cell restriction is when a cell is restricted to just one candidate. And when you can figure that out, you'll have a naked single and you can solve that cell immediately. Very useful for no mark solving. And now you want to look at the 6s. You notice that this 6 cuts across row 7 and this 6 comes down column 4. So there's only 2 places to put a 6 here in block 8. And this is going to lead up to my second part of my secret solving trick for no mark Sudoku. Because the 6s have to be right here, you can remember that since one of these is a 6 cannot be anywhere else along this row outside the block. If you try to put a 6 here or here, you'd have no place to put a 6 in block 8. This is called a pointing pair of 6s. But you don't have to mark it. You just know there's no 6s can be here or here. And because this 6, no 6 can be there. And that 6, no 6 can be there. So we can actually solve this cell now for a 6. And so the first part I showed you, that secret trick, was using cell restrictions. Now we're going to focus on the second part, which is called digit restrictions. We're going to look at where the digit 6 is restricted in this puzzle. Because of those 6s, now you can put a 6 up here in block 1. And these 2 6s in this 6, you put a 6 right here in block 3. And then with these 6s, 6 right there. And then you may notice that the 6s can go in 2 spots here in block 5 and 2 spots here in block 8. Okay, and we can't solve those yet. We're one solve away. If you can figure out one of these cells for 6, you can solve the other right away. But you do all remember that in your working memory. So right now we're using those cell restrictions and the digit restrictions. So digit restrictions, usually cross-hatching like I just did, will get those solves pretty quickly. Let's move on to the 1s. With these 2 1s and this one, you can solve for 1 up here in block 1. And with those 2 1s, a 1 right there in block 7. And then you might notice with this one and this one, you actually have another pointing pair of 1s right here. Don't have to mark it. Just know 1s can't be in any of these spots. And with this one, you can solve for 1 in block 9. All right, and then those 2 1s and this one, solve for 1 here in block 8. No marks, and we're getting plenty of solved digits here. But after that, you're not going to be able to do any more marks. And realize that the 1s are restricted to here and here in this puzzle. So we're just one solve away from getting more of those. All right, so digit restrictions. Let's look now with the 3s. You might notice with this 3 and this 3, solve for a 3 right here, block 7, in the corner, bum, bum, bum. And then with this 3, you can solve for a 3 here in block 8. And that's all we're going to be able to do with the 3s. Let's move on to the 4s again. Now we solved that 3 with these 2 4s. You can solve for a 4 in block 7. And so we're making a lot of good progress here. And then with this 4 and these 2 4s, you can solve for a 4 here in block 3. And those 4s and this 4 here in block 2. And keep note, with the 4s, we only have 4s here and here now, and here in the puzzle. Okay, your working memory works for about 10 to 15 minutes. So if you can solve puzzles in less than 15 minutes in one straight shot, you should be able to remember where these restrictions are. Okay, how about the 5s? With these 2 5s, you can do a digit restriction 5 here in block 1. And then you come down here to block 7. You can solve that for 5 pretty easily. And then notice now you only have two places, two digits. You can left in block 8. Since the 5 is right here, it can only go right there in row 8. And then that will allow you to get these two 5s, a 5 right there. And you'll notice here in column 3, since the 5 is already right there, this has to be your naked single 3, and that's going to be a 5. And then we can go further on. We notice there's only one digit remaining here in row 8. So you need a 7 or an 8 in the block. So your 8's got to go right here, and this is going to be a 7. Okay, after the 5s and the 7 and the 8, let's look in column 2. Got another cell restrictions going on here. We need a 2 and a 9. Since the 9's right there, you know this is going to be a naked single 2, and that's going to be a 9. It's going to leave you with a 2-7 naked pair right there, and also a 4-8-9 naked triple right here. Now, we'll get back to that. But we're just working on those first two parts of the secret trick. The third trick is going to be really cool because it's going to get you to solve something you probably thought you wouldn't be able to solve with no mark solving methods. But I'm going to show you the trick and how it works. Let's move on to the 9s now. With this 9 and this 9, you can solve for a 9 in block 3. Solve for 9 here in block 2. And then with these two 9s. And these two 9s, solve for 9 in block 9. And we have restrictions now with the 9s in these two cells and those two cells. Well, really close to solving the rest of the 9s. And this is probably the spot where you got stuck. And before I show you how to get through the next part easily without marks, using my third part of my secret solving trip, my final part, I do want to hear from you. What is one of your favorite no mark solving tips? Please share it in the comments with me and the other viewers. Help us grow the best Sudoku community on YouTube. I respond to each comment. I learn so much from you. What you have to notice is here in row 7. You'll know that there's only two digits remaining, right? We got a 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9. All you have left is a 2 and a 7. And since we're no marking, I'm not going to mark it. So you got a 2-7 right there. And you go, well, I wonder if there's more restriction that we can do with this 2-7 here. If you look up here in the block 2, you'll notice you have a 1, 4, 5, 6, 9. Only thing that's left is a 2, 3, 7, and an 8. Well, since you have an 8 right there, 8 can't be in these spots. 8s are on these two spots here in block 2. That means that this can only be a 2, 3, or 7. And since this is a 2, 3, or 7, and that's a 2, 7, the digits 2, 3, and 7 are restricted to these three cells, right? That's a 2, 7, that's a 2, 3, 7. So only digits you can put in there are 2, 3, and a 7. And this is awesome because what it does is now creates a heavy house. So when I talk about heavy houses, that's a Sudoku row, column, or block that has 5 or more cells filled in. In this case, you know, a 1's here, an 8's there, and a 2, 3, 7 are on these 5 cells, which just leaves you with a 4, 5, 6, and 9. Well, if you look here in this cell, you may notice you have a 4, 5, and 6 that all see it. So you can actually now solve this for a 9. And the reason you can is because you notice that this was a 2, 3, 7 naked triple. And so this is the third part, awesome bit, and completes my secret solving trick. This is called a house restriction. So a house restriction is when candidates' digits are restricted to certain cells, and so you can make deductions and eliminations in other cells because of that. So you can solve for a 9 right there. And remember that this is going to be your 2, 3, 7. And so this is all part of that secret trick. We're going to see how far we get. But basically the secret to no mark solving is to get to the spot where you have a one-step restriction, where you can lower it to where there's only one possibility that go into a cell. And in this case, we're going to be able to take advantage of those marks and one-step restrictions from some of these digits that we passed previously. So let's move on here. With these two 9s, remember I said there's only 2 places for 9s left in the puzzle, right? And here, or here and here, or here and here. Since we just solved right there, you know you can solve that cell for a 9 right away. Then you remember with the 4s, this is the same thing. Because of this 4, you can solve that for 4, and you can solve this for an 8. And we're going to immediately be able to solve for another 4. Because We know the 4 had to be there if it's going to be right there. How far can we go before we get stuck? All right. The next heavy house be right here. We just added a couple digits here to row 5. You have a 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We just need a 1, 2, 3. I'm going to use my neat naked triple trick to solve all 3. It comes in handy when you're trying to do these digit and cell restrictions. Since you have a 1 and 3 looking at this cell, and the 3 is repeated right there, you can solve all 3. This has to be a 2. The only place the 3 goes is right there, and this is going to be your 1. Awesome. And now we can do some more solving right here. Because all you need is an 8 and a 1. You got the 1 right there. So here's your 1, and here is your 8. You want to try that neat naked triple trick again? We'll get the opportunity. But right now we can finish up row 6 here. You just need a 2 and a 6. I got my 6 right there. So that's got to be a 6. That's going to be your 2. Okay. And now we can look over down here and block 8 because we made some more solves. You got these 2 6s and this 6. It's going to be a 6 right there. And then all you have left is a 5, 7, and a 2. We got the 5 and 7 looking at this cell. 5 repeats over here. You can solve all 3 using that neat naked triple trick. That's got to be a 2. The only place the 5 goes right there, and this is going to be your 7. You can learn more about this trick in this tutorial. But what it does is now we can do some more solving here. With these 7s, you're going to be able to solve for 7 right here. And with this 5, you can look across and notice, okay, I just need a 2. And then I just need an 8 to finish block 9. Awesome. Got a nice full house up here, so we know we can do some more good solving. And what we don't have is a 7, so we can solve that for a 7. And you remember here, we just need a 7 and a 2. So that's a 7, and that's a 2. That's got to be a 2. And there's 2, 7 right here. And we're going to be able to make some more solves. We got a 3 and an 8 right there. Can't solve that just yet, except if you remember this 8 puts a pointed pair of 8s right there. And then you can solve that for an 8 and solve this for your 3. I don't see a 3 in block 2. Only place you can go is right there. And then with these 3s, you solve this cell for a 3. With this 7 and this 7, you can solve this cell here for a 7. And then all you have left is a 2 and an 8. I'm just going to pull what I see first. This 2 means that's a 2, and that's going to be the 8. Awesome. And then with this 8, I don't see an 8 in block 5. So you can solve that cell for an 8, and our last digit is going to be a 5. Now see if you can apply the tricks I just showed you to solve the original video that inspired Julian. Thank you so much for watching.